You do a couple repairs on this hot water tank. It's not that old, but it's having some leaky problems and corrosion issues from the leaking and whatnot. It's kind of making a mess. So I'm going to fix those up. Take a quick look here. You can see all the corrosion on this thing. I actually moved some of it out of the way. You could barely see that fitting, but I'm going to replace it from the top of the tank up above that shutoff. Move the ground wires up. We'll move that stuff up there. The pressure relief valve has actually been dripping onto the floor as well. So we're going to replace that. And then there's a pipe on the side here. It's kind of an old school recirculating hot water thing of some kind, but I'm not exactly sure how that works. But it's having some trouble here too with leaking and whatnot, a little bit down there around that fitting, and then the shutoff and this thing at the bottom, a little corrosion. So I'm going to cut that whole pipe out from above that shutoff. I can't even move that shutoff. It's corroded so bad. But first things first, you want to make sure you get the gas shut off, turn the temperature all the way down, shut the gas off to the tank, cross the pipe there. That's the way that works. And then make sure the water's off to the house or to the tank. Right by the meter there should be a shut off. This one has a sprinkler system or something. That's not going to affect that. So after you get the water shut off, we'll open this up, and I got a hose hooked to it down to the floor drain. I got to drain this thing all the way out because I got to work on the bottom too. So it's going to take a while. So while that's working on draining, we can poke around some of this other stuff when it drains down far enough. But poking around this thing, the nipple looks pretty good. This fitting here, that FIP or whatever, I'm going to have to cut that off. That's not coming apart. So I cut it off to get that off. And then I put my supply line and shut off on there so I could mark it. That's a shark bite fitting. You got to cut those about an inch long, maybe an inch and a quarter, because you got an inch of pipe that's got to go down inside that shark bite, and we'll move those ground wires up. Pieces parts, the supply line with the shut off shark bite that goes onto the tank. There's pressure relief valve, a little spigot that goes on the bottom, a new shutoff for that recirculating side, and a couple miscellaneous fittings. Not terribly expensive to do repairs. So if you need some of this stuff, you can look in the description there. The pressure relief valve, that extension pipe, I'm going to reuse that. Got to have that. Put a pipe wrench on that valve there. Pull that out, clean out that hole before you put the new one in, and then the shutoff I cut above the old one. Got a new shutoff there. I took this whole pipe off from top to bottom, inspected everything real good. That fitting there that goes into the bottom of the tank, nipple's in good shape. The fitting was in good shape. It just looked like it was dripping, a little bit of corrosion. Cleaned that up. Replaced this shutoff on the bottom for what they cost. It's a good idea. So after you get all your stuff hooked up, then turn the water back on and fill the tank. Just make sure it's full before you go trying to light this thing. Once it's full of water, you can turn the gas back on and then work on getting it lit. If you've never done this before, there should be instructions on the side of the tank right there by the valve. Here's a quick description for you. The dial, line that up with the pilot setting. The knob on the top, make sure you turn that to pilot. And then you have to push down on that button to let gas into the tank. And there's a little clicker on the side of that valve that shoots a spark inside the tank and lights the pilot. But you have to do this simultaneously. You got to hold that button down the whole time while you're clicking that thing. And once it lights, you got to hold that button down for probably 20, 30 seconds maybe. If you let go too soon, the pilot will go out. But hold that button down, and then till the pilot stays on. And then once the pilot stays on, after about 20, 30 seconds, then you can let go and adjust the temperature. First, you got to turn this knob to the on setting. There's on, off, and pilot. You want to turn it to the on setting, and then adjust your temperature where you like it, hot or hotter. I would start with hot, and if it's not hot enough, you can always turn the temperature up. So That's about it. If you got to work on this tank, I think the worst part was probably waiting for it to drain. So don't be scared, and hope that helps.